let's get online. Let's see if what people are saying about Filipinas are true. My uncle told me that I should go to the Philippines and, I'd be treated like a king there. I decided to finally cut ties after a 7-year relationship with her. I knew after that I learned exactly what I wanted and what I didn't want. He told me without her, I would be screwed. He's like, my wife does everything for me. People think my decision to go visit the Philippines came out of nowhere, but the truth is, this started a long time ago. Before the YouTube videos, before the plane ticket, and before I ever talked to anyone online. In this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly where this all started and why I finally decided I had to go experience the Philippines for myself. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Legend of Master Sexy YouTube channel. If you guys are new here, welcome. If you guys are returning viewers, welcome back. For those of you new here, I will be leaving to the Philippines in under 3 weeks. For those returning viewers, you guys know this already. I'm taking a 30-day trip to the Philippines to see if it is a possible place that I would like to relocate to permanently. So I'll be traveling there for 30 days. I'll be visiting 4 different cities. If you guys want to check out some of my other videos, I explained that in previous videos. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to talk about the moment I knew when I wanted to visit the Philippines. All right, guys, let's get into it. All right, first of all, I want to go back way before. This was years ago, before I watched any YouTube vlogs, talked to any Filipinos online, did any research myself. And that started with talking to my uncles. So I have 2 different uncles that are both married to Filipinas. One is here in Canada with his Filipino wife. The other one, actually, he works on the boats and he goes from Canada back to the Philippines with his wife as well. So first thing was my uncle, let's go back maybe 10, 15 years ago. For those of you that haven't heard this story already, my uncle told me that I should go to the Philippines. This was when I was probably 20, so about 14 years ago. And, I'd be treated like a king there. I would, find a Filipina. The women there are amazing, all this good stuff. So it sounded great at the time, but I worked construction. It wasn't feasible for me at that time because, I had a job where I was stuck here in Canada. Fast forward 14 years, that has changed. I now work online, so I actually do have the option to do that if I would like to. But going back to my uncle's being with Filipinas, I haven't actually met his wife, but I do have aunts and stuff that have met her, and they say that she's an amazing woman. And then also the one that is here in Canada, I have met her, and she is incredible. And something that, she is like the stereotypical genuine Filipina. She fits that archetype and that personality type. And one thing that I notice about her, she's always kind, always loving, always warm. I actually had a conversation with my uncle, and he's pretty hard. He's pretty kind of a hard ass. And one thing that he told me, which was kind of interesting, it was the first time I heard him actually be vulnerable about this a little bit. And, he's always kind of rough with her, and he's he's very old school. But one thing that he told me, because I told him that I want to go to the Philippines, he's like, you're making the right decision because, he's like, without this, he's like, honestly, he's like, I don't say this to anybody, but without her, I would be screwed. He's like, my wife does everything for me. She's just amazing, right? So he couldn't speak any highly of her. And I've seen it myself, when I'm there, I've visited, or when they come to family gatherings. Also, another thing that I noticed is they have 2 kids who were born and raised in Canada, but their kids are they have the same kind of mentality as Filipino people. They when I talk to them, they're very kind, very respectful, very humble people. Yeah, they're just compared to most kids in Canada, I don't see the same level of respect from a lot of people, but they are absolutely incredible people. So yeah, for me, that's where it started, was with that. Obviously, due to circumstances, work, being in relationships here in Canada, it didn't really make sense, but it was always kind of back of mind until, I finally got to this next thing that happened in my life. And that thing is the breakup that forced my reflection period. So the breakup with my ex, which happened about 8 months ago. So I was in a relationship, guys, wasn't happy. I personally was happy with my life everywhere I was going, but I wasn't happy with the relationship. So 8 months ago, in April of 2025, I decided to finally cut ties after a 7-year relationship with her. And I knew after that I learned exactly what I wanted and what I didn't want in life, especially from not necessarily a Filipino, but from a woman in general in a relationship. So what I ended up doing was I created a list of everything that I was exactly looking for: physical, personality, deal breakers, everything that I was looking for. I just kind of like took half hour and like was like, okay, if she does these things, I don't want to be with her. All this other stuff, I don't want to be with her, right? So, or if she has these traits, I definitely want to be with her. These are green flags, these are red flags. So I ended up mapping all that stuff out. And, based on what I was looking for, I was like, I'm probably not going to find this in Canada, especially because the physical traits, I'm actually like very attracted to Filipino women. So for the physical, I like Morena Filipinas, like dark skin, dark eyes, dark hair, very petite women. The smaller, the better. Personally, I like really, really small girls. So for me, those are the physical things. And I'm like, okay, that's probably not going to happen because there's a really interesting statistic. And I heard it on a podcast that I listened to. And, these guys are pretty reputable. And I just, I take it for what they say. But one thing that they said was on average in North America, on average, women in a certain age range, I can't remember, but it's like over 18 to whatever age range, they weigh on average 172 pounds, which is crazy to me for like a woman. So then I looked up like what do Filipinas weigh on average. I think it was like 110 pounds. So they're a lot smaller, which for me, that's an attractive physical trait to have. On top of that, obviously all the other things that I look for, like, I think they have like amazing smiles. I think they have really good energy, really positive. And I'm talking about the genuine ones. So for all you guys that are going to try and rip me up in the comments, also, which I welcome, I don't really care. I'm talking about the genuine ones. If you guys haven't figured that out yet, then, I can't really help you. So anyway, I'm not talking about the predatory women that, have a hidden agenda or, they try to hide their agenda, but they're pretty obvious with it anyway. I'm talking about the genuine, authentic Filipino women that actually have good hearts and they actually want to have a relationship with somebody, right? So I'm talking about those women. And yeah, I kind of went off topic a bit there. But anyway, my point being, after that relationship, I had that reflection period. I learned a lot, exactly what I don't want, exactly what I do want. Just to quickly list some of the things that I am looking for and I know. Obviously, beside all the personality traits, like loyal, honest, respectful, all the things that everybody wants, the things that I'm like really looking for, I'm actually not looking for. Sometimes people in the comments of them like, make sure you get a Filipina that has like a great job, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I actually don't want a woman that works a regular job because I want her to be a traditional housewife and I want her to be, when we eventually have kids someday, I want her to be a mother to our children and I want her to do an amazing job at those things. So I actually think that's probably one of the most important jobs that is lacking in North America because everybody here, based on cost of living, other circumstances, are forced to have to work just to be able to afford a decent lifestyle or a lifestyle that they want to live, right? So that kind of pushes, to me, it kind of repels the man and the woman away from each other, where for me, the way I look at it is like, if I'm the leader in the relationship as the man, I am the provider. I'm the one getting bringing in the money into the household, but she is the support system as well. She's supporting the leader. She's there to, make sure that, I'm taken care of, kids are taken care of, and all that stuff. So for me, I value that a lot more than a girl that like works. Because at that point, I know people say, yeah, obviously you can hire a maid, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But if she's working, like who's watching the kids when the kid's home, right? I would rather be home with the kids instead of like getting a nanny or something like that. I think having that connection with your kids is super important. Obviously, them being family oriented as well, it's very important. So yeah, I've learned, okay, I'm probably going to have to look elsewhere other than Canada because, first of all, there's not a lot of Filipinas here. Second of all, if they are here, and I'm not saying this is always the case, most people that are here, you are a product of your environment. And if you're here, yeah, there's a good chance that you probably she probably has Canadian friends, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You're more likely going to adapt to this environment here, and it will change somebody's mindset. Not always. There's probably Filipinos that come here and keep their values and all that stuff. But, I don't want to have to look for like a needle in a haystack here, where I could probably find a lot easier somewhere else. That's one big thing, right? There are other reasons, obviously, going to the Philippines other than just to find a woman. And I'm not like chasing it. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. That's cool. There are other reasons, obviously, that I'm going there. So after that breakup, guys, what I ended up doing was like, okay, let's get online. Let's see if what people are saying about Filipinas are true based on what I've heard. At this point, I've only heard the good, right? So then I started doing some research. I watched some videos, things to avoid online, scammers, stuff like that. Did some research, jumped on to the Filipino dating apps. And, I had some bad luck at first, had some good luck at first. So like I talked to one girl, definitely a scammer, telling me her family is poor, she needs money, blah, 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 all this stuff, hearing all the sob stories from all these Filipinos, right? Or women right away, like asking for money very obviously. So then I actually watched a video from the one YouTuber, and she said, put in your description that you just will not, don't bother messaging me if you're going to send money. So I started with that, and it did kind of weed people out a little bit. I still had some people trying, but I met one really, really nice girl at first, started talking to her for a while. Like, she was very genuine, authentic. She did have a job. So, I wasn't like completely against that at the time, but the ones that were good and I could tell were genuine and actually want a relationship, they were like amazing women. So like, it kind of like opened up my eyes to like, okay, there are good women out there also that fit my, like kind of everything that I'm looking for physically. That girl, pretty much everything she checked the boxes off on, except just like one or two things that were like kind of deal breakers for me, but nothing like personality wise. She was great personality wise, more like physical stuff. But she was, because I am Shallow Al, in case you guys don't know. I've said this in another video. My sister calls me Shallow Al because I'm very, very picky. If you haven't seen that movie, pop it up down in the bottom left corner of the screen and go watch that movie. It's really, really funny. So my sister calls me Shallow Al instead of Shallow Hal. Yeah, so it's just kind of a joke between her and I. But anyway, go watch that movie. It is a good movie. But yeah, he's very, very shallow in that movie, and I have a lot of the same traits. But anyways, guys, what I learned was, yes, there's a lot of predatory women on the online dating sites, but there are a lot of authentic ones in there. It's just like finding, not necessarily a needle in a haystack. I would say, it is a little easier to find genuine women still in the Philippines than it is here in Canada, just based on my experience from what I've seen. That being said, I haven't been there yet. I will be going there soon. So, I'll find out soon enough firsthand. That's kind of the point, right? So that was the next thing, was getting on the online dating scene and seeing, kind of doing more research, seeing if this would actually be a possible option for me. Okay, guys, and leading into this next one, talking about like the culture and the respect there. So for me, growing up doing martial arts my whole life, one thing that I notice here is a lot of entitlement and a lot of people that, aren't the most respectful. Canadians do get like a reputation for being really respectful and kind people. And don't get me wrong, this is just generalizing. There are a lot of respectful and kind people here still. A lot of good people. Like, don't get me wrong, there is. But, I do see entitlement a lot here. And I do see rudeness sometimes here, just observing. I'm a very observant person when I go out or I go in social environments. And I just listen to people's words and then look at their actions as well. And these are just things that I've noticed. So obviously going to the Philippines, I won't experience until I get there. But watching a bunch of vlogs, YouTube and stuff like that, I have seen, people they seem very positive, seem very grateful. People that I've talked to, they're very grateful with very little. So, if that same person, if I put some of the people in Canada in that same person's situation, they would like be so ungrateful they would be like, that's crazy. I would never do that, blah, blah, blah. So we do have a, kind of like an entitlement mentality here as well. So anyways, that is another reason. So like once I started seeing that, I was like, okay, another reason that checks off the box of why I want to go there and discover it for myself as well. Okay, guys, now that segues into the next one, which is seeing the Philippines as a dream destination. So another thing, as you see behind me, it's snowing here. It's actually starting to, like, the sun's actually starting to come out a little bit today. But I'm not a fan of the snow, not a fan of the cold weather. I worked construction out doing bridge work before in the winters, freezing cold weather. I just hate it. I hate the cold weather. It's like I'm soured towards it because I used to work in it. After a while, it kind of gets old. I'm like, okay, I want to be somewhere where it's tropical, where it's warm. I love the heat. So people are like, oh, you're going to die. It's too hot here. It's like, you guys don't realize, like, I love the heat. Like, I don't even like turning on the AC in the summer in Canada. I know it's not as hot as the Philippines, so I probably will turn it on there a little bit. But I do like the heat. I do like the humidity. The only time I like it being cool is when I'm sleeping. It helps me sleep, obviously. But during the day, I'm good with like just being warm. I like it. So anyways, guys, obviously that's one thing. And then all the different beautiful places to explore. Growing up like in Canada, it's beautiful here. It's nice here. But like, I'm kind of getting bored. I want to try something different as well. So there's another reason to add to the list. So another thing, guys, is, just like the connection with people and like kind of not focusing on just money alone. Everybody here is like, in the rat race. They're kind of have tunnel vision. Everybody's focused on, like, how do we afford stuff? Because it's so like, everybody's just focused on trying to create a better life for their families here. I'm not saying it's not like that there as well, but, it's just more fast paced here from what I've seen anyway. And, people doesn't necessarily equate to more happiness, more money. So, as the saying goes, more money, more problems, right? So, yeah, for me, and like people will say, oh, it's not much better in the Philippines. Like I get a lot of like people being like very miserable in the comments, which is okay. Like I like it because it still if you comment that stuff, still helps the video get pushed out. It means that you're still watching the video. So I do appreciate those comments still. But it's people's mindsets are kind of broken. They look at the negative things and people will try to talk me out of it. So for me though, it's like I've always come to realize people have tried to talk me out of things my whole life because they're fearful of taking any risk and they're fearful of change. They want to live in this comfort zone. For me, the comfort zone is where things go to die. Like for me, I always want to keep improving, keep trying new things. I want to take risks in life. I only live once. So like, why not take the risk? Especially, right now I don't have anything tying me down here. I'm like, I have to go experience it for myself. So if I go there, I fall flat on my face, I fail, I get robbed by Filipinas, I get taken advantage of. Firstly, I'm not going to leave with my wallet like most of you guys probably did anyway. So this is the hard truth for you guys. A lot of you guys are afraid to take accountability for the stuff that you guys did. Okay. If I go there, I lead with my wallet, then the girl takes advantage of me, her family soaked me for money, all this stuff, boo-hoo. It's like you guys are the ones that put yourself in that situation in the first place. Tell her no. It's simple. And you know what happens when you tell a woman no? It makes her more attracted to you. Or if she's predatory, it's going to make her leave you. But that's a good thing. Like, who cares? So for me, for all you guys trying to talk me out of it or, like chirping in the comments, like, oh, I can't wait to see you fail there. It's like, yeah, me too. Like if I fail, cool. I learned something, right? That's the difference. I'm not afraid to fail, but you guys are. So I don't know what to tell you, but it's just funny to me that so many people have that mindset. It's a broken mindset. Like living in fear your whole life. Is that any way to live? My mom lives that way. Everybody tries to talk me out of things. When people try to talk me out of things, it's like, okay, all more reason to do this thing that people are trying to talk me out of because it's not, that's like telling me, okay, everybody's afraid to do it. I'm going to go do it. I like facing my fears. Or it's not even a fear. It's like, it kind of gets me excited because it's like, why are these people afraid of this stuff? It's like, let's go experience it firsthand. And I know you guys have had some bad experiences. Obviously, there's situations where maybe it wasn't your fault, but honestly, I think a lot of stuff is avoidable. And you have to look, okay, was it my fault? Reflect on yourself and take some accountability for this stuff, guys. Like, you guys are complaining in the comments about people robbing you, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I know it sucks. Like, obviously, there's the circumstance where it's like, okay, yeah, you had your stuff in your house, somebody robbed you. Yeah, that's like unfortunate, right? I'm not talking about that. But if you went up to a room with a Filipina and, you had some drinks with her, you had your wallet in your pocket, and you're like 60 years old and the girl's like 20 and she's clearly a city girl just trying to, use you, chances are if you get robbed, it's like, well, you put yourself in that situation, right? It's like, be careful. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, if I end up hooking up with a girl there and she robs me, it's my own fault. What am I supposed to do? Right? So anyways, guys, that was kind of going off on a tangent, but I think some of you guys need a reality check when it comes to that, because everybody is like, oh, you need a reality check. Like, you'll see when you get there. Of course, you are right. I do need a reality check. But the difference is, it's like, I want that. I actually want that reality check. It's like, I have my perception right now, but once I get there, it's either like, everybody's situation is different, because some guys will leave with their wallet, some guys won't, right? So if you leave with your wallet, you're going to have you're going to be taken advantage of way easier by any woman anywhere in the world than the guy that doesn't leave with his wallet. And lastly, guys, what I want to talk about is the final thing that made me purchase my plane ticket to go to the Philippines. And that was meeting a woman that I think is an authentic, genuine Filipino. Whether I'm right or wrong about that, I have to trust my intuition on this one. So for me, I was already going to go anyway, regardless if I met a Filipino online or not. This kind of just was like, okay, it was the icing on the cake. Let's get a plane ticket booked. Because I started connecting with her. I'm like, okay, let's go. And I was actually already planning this date anyway. But that was like the final thing. That was like all these other things kind of stacked up. And then it was like, okay, I met a cool girl too. Let's get that plane ticket booked. And I'm not pedestalizing her. I'm not, whatever happens with her. You know what I mean? So for me, the important thing is go meet her, see if, everything from the video calls, chats, everything lines up in person. And if we still have that connection in person, right? If we do, great. This is going to be a very interesting experience, whether it lives up to the hype or not. I'm going to tell you guys the honest truth after the 30 days, maybe even before that. It's like, look, I had all these expectations going in, and these things exceeded my expectations, these things didn't. So I'll probably do another video on that after the trip. But, subscribe now, check out the videos. They're, 3 weeks from now, I'm going to be putting them out. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Most importantly, don't forget to stay legendary and stay sexy.